Customer experience, or CX, is a term that's getting used more and more every day. 15 years ago, there was barely any companies with a specific CX team, and the Chief Customer Officer role, or Chief Experience Officer roles, didn't really exist. So I'm going to give you some context on why customer experience has become so important. Welcome to the Customer Smarts podcast, where you'll discover smarter ways to deliver customer experiences. I'm your host, Justin Stafford, and I've been helping big brands with digital transformation and CX strategy for many years. Now, before we dive into the 5 key reasons why customer experience has become such a big deal, I just want to start by clarifying what customer experience really is, because I tend to hear a lot of confusion. To simplify things, it's everything that a customer experiences from a brand. It's not just the customer service or the post-purchase phase. It encompasses the entire customer journey, from pre-purchase to post-purchase, and even if you think further ahead to repurchase or buying again. Every aspect of your business, from brand, advertising, sales, digital, product, customer service, and even finance, all play a crucial role in shaping the overall customer experience. It's a collective effort. So I hope that clears things up if it was a little murky in your own mind. Now let's move on to the 5 key reasons why it's become such a big deal. Number 1, the internet and mobile drove 24/7 accessibility. For over a decade, we've been able to interact with organizations 24/7, anytime, anywhere via mobile. So we now expect businesses to be on their game at our convenience. For example, if I'm sitting bored at an airport at 3 a.m, I can go on my phone and buy a new pair of Nikes to cheer myself up. It's really that easy. Gone are the days where businesses could only be accessed during standard working hours. This accessibility demand has put pressure on companies to always be available and responsive, which has driven investment in self-service channels and online platforms. So brands who offer the best digital experiences and 24/7 availability have a competitive advantage, which has driven a much stronger focus on customer experience in the last 10 years. Point number 2, more competition and choice. The digital era led to an influx of new entrants in almost every category, which means businesses have more competition and customers have more choice. Brands can no longer make empty promises through advertising to lure customers in. They must deliver on those promises consistently with great customer experience. As customers now have the power and their expectations are rising much faster than most businesses can evolve, CX has now become the key differentiator between brands. Apple is a perfect example. They have such a well-crafted customer experience that they barely need to advertise. They just notify customers of new products and then they camp outside their stores, which just really shows the power of a great customer experience. Moving on to number 3, digital experiences are now expected, so the focus has shifted to overall customer experience. In today's world, customers expect businesses to have a good digital presence and the ability to interact with them on various platforms and channels. Whether it's websites, mobile apps, web chat, in-store interactions, or social media, businesses need to be available where and when their customers are. Customers want a seamless experience across all these channels. They expect businesses to have their information readily available and to pick up where they left off, regardless of what channel they use. They're also now expecting personalized experiences, as we've all had great experiences with Uber, Netflix, and Spotify, which is why the focus has shifted from having a digital experience to the entire customer experience across digital and non-digital channels, and orchestrating the experience across all channels and customer touchpoints. Car brands are a good example of this. Having worked with Lexus in the past and helping them map out their core customer journey, there are some key transitional points. Customers tend to start the journey at home researching cars on multiple devices, then they get to a point where they want to go into a dealership for a test drive. It's these transitions from different channels from online to offline that really highlights the need for CX strategy. Every interaction and transition point is a make or break opportunity to create a more seamless customer experience. So the brands who best address the frustration points in the customer experience will have a greater advantage, as it demonstrates to the customer that you understand them better, so it gives them a reason to come back. Point number 4, strong CX creates more sustainable growth. Executive teams tend to be measured on the results they're driving in the short term. So it means businesses often focus more on acquiring new customers in the short term versus retaining them. This often leads to overspending on campaigns and paid media to attract those new customers, and underspending in improving the customer experience and brand to reduce customers leaving. The problem with this approach is it's like pouring water into a leaky bucket, meaning there's a lot of money being wasted. Great brands know that a great customer experience gives customers a reason to keep coming back. It also drives customer growth far more sustainably for the long term. Apple once again are kings of this, but Zara, the clothing brand from Europe, are also a great example. They barely need to advertise because their CX is so strong. For businesses to maintain success over the long term, they need to create a better balance between acquisition and retention, focusing far more on customer experience and retention, especially as it gets harder to reach customers in paid media. And last point, number 5, customer-centric operating models are more efficient. Traditionally, many companies are structured by product or business unit who are often working in silos competing against each other for customers' attention. And there's often a big disconnect between marketing and customer service. The most progressive companies have realized that a product-centric operating model was slowing them down from meeting customer expectations and have reorientated to a customer-centric culture, encouraging data sharing and collaboration between teams, as it creates the best impact possible for customers and the business. Formula One racing is a great example of this, as I recently discovered chatting to Salesforce CTO in Australia and New Zealand, Guyan Benedict. He talked about the entire organisation aligning around their customer-centric culture, which has enabled them to unlock new levels of operational efficiency. Another indicator of change is that many leading organisations have created the Chief Customer Officer role, who becomes responsible for customer growth and experience across acquisition and retention. So this role should help organisations implement a customer-centric culture and ways of operating, including a better balance and efficiencies between acquisition and retention. Coles Supermarket in Australia is another example of a traditional company who has recently implemented this role. This brings us to the end of the episode. To sum things up, customer experience has become so important because there's more competition for businesses and more choice for customers. Becoming more customer-centric is critical for business growth in the long term. The ones who don't change and stay product-centric and focusing on the short term will get left behind. If you found this insightful, make sure you hit the subscribe or follow button now, as we have some great episodes coming up. And if you have any questions or would like any help with the topics I talked through today, then reach out to us at customersmarts.co. Catch you next time.